Hi, this is Logan Garibay, and today we're going to talk about your Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition game, Tashas Cauldron of Everything, and the patron model for running your campaigns, and a new J. Scott Garibay exclamation point on the Tashas Cauldron of Everything patron model. All right, so Tashas Cauldron of Everything is super hot. Everybody's covering it right now, which I think is great. I really think it's fantastic. And one of the things is, here's the issue, right? I think the success of Tashas Cauldron of Everything, a success that is far better than Rime of the Frost Maiden or, Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. This book is like catching on fire. Every YouTube commentator is covering it in depth. Many people are doing multiple breakdowns, right? It's really being celebrated. And the reason why is, Dungeon Masters don't need adventures. Adventures are pure, they're just junk. They're only the weakest Dungeon Masters run pre-gens. You're getting that here at J. Scott Garibay. I want to kill the idea that good, prominent, solid, rock-solid Game Master, Dungeon Masters run pre-gen adventures. Only the weakest Dungeon Masters run pre-gens. And YouTubers looking for clicks, right? Like, that's it. That's it. And, like, solid, down with it, knowledgeable, savvy Dungeon Masters do not run pre-gens. They build their own, right? Kill the pre-gen. All right. So you got all this, right? So, but this is a great book. I love it. All right. And here's my model. Okay. So you go to Tashas Cauldron of Everything. It'll give you lots of different platforms for patrons, but they forgot one. What's the one they forgot? Well, the one I forgot is, and the one I'll be using in my Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign, is the Charlie's Angels patron model. What? right, yeah. I hear you. Okay, so here's the deal, okay? So first of all, I am saying that you should use the Charlie's Angels patron model. For one, the Charlie's Angels series, actually, so let's talk about what Charlie's Angels I'm talking about, because there's 3 different versions, at least. The most prominent versions, the most recent version, right, is Elizabeth Banks' Charlie's Angels, okay? I think Elizabeth Banks and her dog saw that movie. It did atrocious at the box office. I don't even think it made its money back from its budget. It did not do good, right? So it was not well received. There is zero talk of a sequel. It was not well received. I am not talking about Elizabeth Banks' 2019 Charlie's Angels. Am I talking about the original series that came out on television in the 70s? No, I am not. I have never seen even a single episode of that show, so I'm not talking about it because I've never seen it. So what is Charlie's Angels to Scott Garibay? Drew Barrymore's Charlie's Angels, right? So Drew Barrymore was in 2 Charlie's Angels movies. She was in Charlie's Angels, right, with Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu, and Bill Murray was in that movie as well. And then also there was a movie called Charlie's Angel Full Throttle, which had Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, and Lucy Liu, and Freddie Mac, right? He was a very prominent comedian. Bill Murray and Freddie Mac, we're going to return to them because they play a really prominent character that we're going to talk about. So the Dungeons & Dragons Charlie's Angels patron model is a little bit different than the show, but the Charlie's Angels, the Drew Barrymore Charlie's Angels is a great model to use, okay? So in that, Charlie is this person who buys all their equipment and gives them their next mission, right? So Charlie quests them, and that's what patrons do. They quest your player character group, right? But they also gear them up. They're responsible to gear them to keep, as they say on the streets, keep them laced up, right? They got to get them fresh gear. They got to get them what they need to accomplish the missions, and they got to pay them, right? So your patrons should be doing all that, right? Charlie does all that for Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu, and Cameron Diaz in the Charlie's Angels movies, right? The Garibay canon Charlie's Angels, right? That's the only Charlie's Angels that exist to me. I've never seen the other ones. I never saw Elizabeth Banks' movie. I never saw the original series. Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore's Charlie's Angels is Charlie's Angels to me, right? So in that, Charlie actually makes sure that they're geared up, right? Make sure that they get paid, and he gives them their mission, right? Their quest, okay? That's a great model, right? But why use Charlie's Angels? Because that's kind of simple, right? Like you could get there even with what's in Tashas. Well, Charlie's Angels has some really unique, awesome sauce for your Dungeons and Dragons game. First of all, right out of the gate, none of the angels have ever seen Charlie, ever, not even once, right? So what you can do here is I'm going to be using the multitude voice. So when Charlie talks to the player characters in my Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition game, I'll be using the multitude voice. So each word that is said by Charlie when he speaks to them through a scrying bowl, like, so basically they'll just put the way they'll talk with him is anytime they wish. And actually, my Charlie is going to be genderless and actually not have one voice. Each word that Charlie says will be from a different person, right? And it'll come from a different voice. So it'll sound like a voice of multitude, and each word spoken will be generated from a different person, right? Now, it's all being spoken by one central wizard, okay? And here's the kicker. The PCs do not know who Charlie is, okay? And this is great because you start with a mystery, right? Also, it's a great way to do a really good job of doing this really awesome, wonderful supply of cool things to your characters. Because if they're going to trust Charlie, that means you need to, if they're going to trust Charlie, that means you need to actually do the right thing. And, he's going to need, Charlie will actually need to supply the important thing, will need to supply the gear that they need, right? And in order to gain their trust, he may need to gift them with gems and gold and really, really high-end stuff so you could open the relationship with a patron of very robust giving to your players. What player character ain't going to like that? They're all going to love it. Your player's going to love it, right? And actually, Charlie has a tradition of being very generous with the angels, right? So you get to start with a mystery. You get to start the game by having this nameless, anonymous source have to build trust with the player characters by gifting them generously. Great start, right? And then in addition to that, the best reason to use the Charlie's Angels patron model is Bosley, okay? Not only do you have this great patron, but the patron, because they're anonymous and can't be there with the angels directly, he sends Bosley, okay? And the canon Drew Barry Charlie's Angels, Bosley is more than one person. It's Freddie Mac and Bill Murray, right? So your Bosley is somebody who helps the characters directly, but can be a different non-player character. Brilliant, right? Charlie's Angels is the best Dungeons & Dragons patron model for your Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I've given you the format, kind of to click it into place and use it. Tashas Cauldron of everything. Let's all celebrate. This book is awesome, and I think the whole YouTube Dungeons & Dragons commentator community is really celebrating this product, and with good reason. That's my opinion. What do you think? Do you think that Charlie's Angels, the Dungeons & Dragons Charlie's Angels patron model is a good way to go? If you do, let me know in the comments below. If you think that's completely wrong, let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for giving me a chance to share this with you today. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.